Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you never miss out. Now on with the stories.
I swear they're just messing with me. Really just need to vent on this one. Let me start at the beginning of my complaint. I'm in a new construction single-family home. The neighborhood's not even complete yet. It's one of those places where you can still see bulldozers and half-finished houses on some streets. My wife and I moved in about 6 months ago, excited about the prospect of having a brand new home that we could really make our own. One of the first things we wanted to do was put up a fence and add some concrete pads around the house. Nothing fancy, just a simple wooden fence for privacy and a few areas where we could set up outdoor furniture or a grill. We figured it would be a straightforward process. Boy, were we wrong. Now, I get it. The HOA wants to make sure the neighborhood looks nice and uniform. That's fine. I can handle submitting a request for approval. What I didn't expect was the absolute nightmare of bureaucracy I was about to enter. First off, I found out that not only does the HOA need to approve our plans, but the city requires a permit for this work too. And get this, to get the city permit, you need a letter from the HOA as part of your request. It's like a catch-22 of paperwork. But I thought, okay, I can handle this. I'm an organized guy. I'll just get all my ducks in a row and submit everything at once. So, I sat down and wrote up this detailed request. I'm talking plot maps, material specifications, color swatches, the works. I even included a 3D rendering of what the fence would look like, just to show how thorough I was being. In the request form, there were fields for anticipated start date and anticipated end date. Now, here's where I thought I was being clever. Knowing that I'd need time to get the city permit and get on my contractor's schedule, I decided to give myself a little cushion. The form said the end date had to be within 30 days of the start date. So I put my anticipated start date about 30 days out from when I was submitting the request, and the end date about 30 days after that. I felt pretty smart about this move, thinking I was giving myself plenty of time to get everything in order. I submitted this masterpiece of a request on June 27th. That was 57 days ago. Since then, it's been nothing but frustration and radio silence. I've checked in with them so many times I've lost count. At least a dozen, probably more. Each time, it's the same story. They take days to respond, if they respond at all. And when they do, it's always the same canned response. The board has 60 days to approve or deny your request. 60 days. 2 whole months to look at some paperwork and say yes or no. It's not like I'm asking to build a skyscraper or dig a moat around my property. It's a fence and some concrete, for crying out loud. This week, things have gotten even more ridiculous. Their 60-day deadline is up on Monday, so I've been calling their office more frequently, hoping to get some kind of update. Well, apparently, my representative has been working remote this week. And by working remote, they seem to mean completely unreachable. Every time I call, I get routed to her voicemail. I've left 2 messages this week alone. It's like they don't even want to talk to the people they're supposed to be serving. I mean, does this company not provide cell phones to their employees? How are they supposed to do their jobs if they can't be reached? Today, I called again, thinking surely someone would be there on a Friday. Nope, the entire office is remote on Fridays. The phone doesn't even redirect to a person. It just goes straight to a voicemail saying that representatives work remotely from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Fridays. 3 whole hours? That's their work day on a Friday. Frustrated, I tried emailing my representative again. Guess what? The email bounced back with an out-of-office reply saying she's out until Monday. It's like they're not even trying to hide how little they actually work. So here I am, stuck in this ridiculous situation. I've done everything right. I lined up a contractor, got a detailed quote, had them create a design plan, everything except actually signing on the dotted line. I filled out their stupid form with all the information they could possibly need. And now I'm just sitting here, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for them to deign to look at my request. The worst part is, even if they do finally approve it, I'm probably going to have to start the whole process over again. Remember those dates I put on the form? Yeah, those are long gone now. There's no way I can start the work within 30 days of their approval, because I'll have to go through the whole city permit process and then try to get back on my contractor's schedule. And it's not like I could just say, screw it, and go ahead with the improvements anyway. Even if the HOA misses their deadline, I still need that city permit. And to get the city permit, I need the HOA approval. It's a never-ending cycle of bureaucratic nonsense. Oh, and here's the kicker. I was looking through the CCR, covenants, conditions, and restrictions document the other day, and guess what I found? It says the HOA has 30 days to respond, not 60. Here's the exact wording. If the declarant fails to approve or disapprove such proposed improvements within 30 days after the plans and specifications have been received by it, the plans and specifications shall be deemed as disapproved. So not only have they blown past their own stated deadline, but they've also apparently been lying to me about how long they actually have to review requests. It's infuriating. I'm starting to think they're doing this on purpose. Maybe they saw my attempt to give myself some extra time and decided to teach me a lesson. Or maybe they just enjoy making homeowners jump through hoops. Either way, it's ridiculous. And you know what? At this point, I'm seriously considering applying for a job with this HOA management company. I mean, think about it. You get to work remotely, apparently only check your email for an hour a week, and then just put up an out-of-office auto-reply the rest of the time. Sounds like a pretty sweet gig to me. But in all seriousness, this whole situation is just absurd. How am I supposed to plan anything under these conditions? How could it possibly take 60 days, or even 30 days, to review a simple request for a fence and some concrete pads? I've given them every piece of information they could possibly need. What are they doing with all this time? I'm at my wit's end here. I've tried being patient. I've tried being understanding. I've tried following all their rules and jumping through all their hoops. And what do I have to show for it? Nothing but frustration in a backyard that's still just a patch of dirt. You know, when we bought this house, we were so excited about the idea of making it our own. We had all these plans for how we wanted to set up our outdoor space. We imagined summer barbecues with friends, a nice private area where we could relax after work, maybe even a little garden. Now, every time I look out the window, all I see is that bare yard, and I'm reminded of this ongoing nightmare with the HOA. It's affecting our whole life at this point. My wife and I can't make any plans because we don't know when or if we'll be able to start this work. We can't invite friends over for outdoor gatherings because we don't have anywhere nice for them to sit. We can't even let our dog out in the backyard without keeping him on a leash because there's no fence. And it's not just us. I've talked to some of our neighbors, and they're dealing with similar issues. One couple wanted to paint their front door a slightly different shade of blue, and they've been waiting for approval for months. Another family wanted to put in a small flower bed, and they got denied because the flowers they chose weren't on some pre-approved list. It feels like we're living in some kind of bizarre dystopia where every little decision about our own homes has to be run by this faceless, unreachable board. I mean, isn't the whole point of owning a home that you get to make it yours? That you get to decide what it looks like and how you use it? I understand the need for some rules. I get that we don't want someone painting their house neon green or turning their front yard into a junkyard. But this level of control and bureaucracy is just insane. It's like they're actively trying to make it as difficult as possible for us to enjoy our homes. And you know what the worst part is? We're paying for this. Every month, we send a check to this HOA for the privilege of being ignored and having our simple requests dragged out for months on end. It's like paying someone to make your life more difficult. I've started looking into our options for fighting back against this. Maybe we can get a group of homeowners together and petition for changes to the HOA rules. Or maybe we can look into legal options if they keep violating their own stated timelines. I don't know what the solution is, but I know I can't just sit back and accept this as the way things are going to be. In the meantime, I guess I'll just keep calling and emailing and hoping that someone, somewhere in this HOA actually decides to do their job. But let me tell you, if I ever buy another house, you can bet it won't be in an HOA neighborhood. This experience has completely soured me on the whole concept. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Stuck in limbo, unable to make any progress on improving our home. All because of an unresponsive HOA and a bureaucratic process that seems designed to frustrate homeowners. It's enough to make you want to scream. Screw HOAs and double screw this HOA in particular. I'm so done with this nonsense. Oh, that's absolute bullshit that they have it written this way. When I was in an HOA and on the ARC, Architectural Review Committee, if we didn't respond by the end of the timeline, it was considered automatically approved. If the neighborhood is still being built out, that means it's the builder running the HOA, even if they're using a management company. I assume there's a sales office on site. I'd go and ask one of the reps there for help trying to get a hold of someone at the builder to light a fire under the management company. Edit. Maybe also see if you can get a hold of a foreman for the community if the sales reps are of no use. although I would assume they might refer you to him, her. You need to look into your state laws on the issue. Depending on what state you're in, a lot of laws have been changing recently around HOAs because they've been behaving abusively toward their residents. There may be something in the law now that can protect you from this particular aspect of your HOAs. CC&Rs. This particular thing seems extremely abusive, honestly. Even if it's standard policy, it shouldn't be. We just won't reply and then you're denied is not a strategy for dealing with what people need or ask them for. As a former HOA board member, I can say with certainty that this level of incompetence and lack of communication is completely unacceptable. The purpose of an HOA is to maintain property values and community standards, not to create unnecessary obstacles for homeowners trying to improve their properties. The fact that this HOA is taking the full 60 days, which appears to be longer than their own bylaws allow, to review a simple fence request is absurd. Moreover, their lack of responsiveness to inquiries is a clear dereliction of duty. If I were this homeowner, I would be gathering signatures from neighbors to call for an emergency meeting of all homeowners to address these issues and potentially vote for new board members. It's also concerning that the city requires HOA approval for permits, as this creates an additional layer of bureaucracy that can be easily abused. This situation highlights the need for better oversight of HOAs and potentially legislation to limit their power and ensure they operate in a timely and transparent manner. Homeowners shouldn't have to feel like they're battling their own community organization just to make simple improvements to their property. If you like our stories, then please like and subscribe and comment, and remember to hit that bell icon so you never miss out. We have new stories almost every day. My townhouse building, barely a quarter-century old, stood as a silent witness to years of neglect. It wasn't age that wore it down. It was the sheer incompetence of the revolving door of board members who had come and gone over the years. Each one more clueless than the last, staying just long enough to pass the buck to the next poor soul. 5 to 7 years seemed to be the sweet spot for their tenure, a long enough stretch to enjoy the power without dealing with the consequences. I had tried, oh how I had tried, to get on that board. Every election, every chance, I put my name forward, hoping I could bring some common sense to the table. But no, they always had someone else in mind, someone who would let the president run wild, paying bills with no oversight, no checks, no balances. And so the place turned into a circus of emergency repairs, one disaster after another, because someone up top believed that maintenance was an unnecessary expense. The logic was beyond me. It's like living in a house and deciding that you'll just ignore a leaky roof because it's not raining right now. The latest catastrophe? The main sewer line. I don't even know if you can call it latest, when it's been a ticking time bomb since 2020. That's when the plumbing company gave them the grim news. The line was on the brink of collapse. They needed to act, and fast. But did they listen? Of course not. Why spend money on a repair when you can just hope the problem magically goes away? Fast forward to the present. I went to rod my sewer line, just a routine task, and found out the horror that the main line was hanging by a thread. If that line had given out, we'd be looking at a minimum of $50,000 to fix it, not to mention the chaos that would follow. Everyone would have had to move out for nearly a week, and sewer water would have poured into the units, mine being the first in line for that delightful experience. And here's the kicker. Insurance doesn't cover a sewer line collapse when it's due to blatant negligence. We'd have been on our own. The apathy in this place is staggering. No one seems to care about the mountain of code violations we're sitting on. It's like living in a game of Jenga, waiting for the next piece to be pulled and send the whole tower crashing down. Selling and getting out? Forget it. The violations are so numerous, anyone trying to sell would lose their shirt. Who in their right mind would buy into this mess? But here's the real twist of the knife. The board, in their infinite wisdom, decided to keep the whole sewer line fiasco under wraps. They didn't tell a soul how close we were to a literal shitstorm. So, when I started pushing for the repair, raising alarms, and doing what any responsible homeowner would do, what do I get? I get called a Karen. That's right, I'm the bad guy for trying to prevent a catastrophe. And let me tell you, getting that repair done was no walk in the park. I had to sit through multiple bids, each one more depressing than the last, as they detailed just how bad the situation was. I had to lawyer up to force the repair through because, surprise, surprise, the board wasn't keen on spending the money. My garage had to be dug up because the pipe was underneath it, running along the side of the building. For weeks, My home looked like a war zone, with trenches dug and piles of dirt everywhere. And where was the board? Nowhere to be found. Not a single one of them bothered to check if the work was done properly. The cherry on top? The ditch they dug sat open for over a month, rain pouring into it and seeping into the foundation. I could feel the ground getting softer, the earth giving way little by little. But hey, I'm the Karen, right? The best part. These geniuses haven't even put aside 10% of the budget to get financing for any future repairs. So when the time comes, and it will come, anyone trying to sell their unit will find out that buyers can only purchase with cash. Who has that kind of money lying around? Certainly not the people in this neighborhood. They'll be stuck, just like the rest of us, in a place that's slowly falling apart, with no way out. So here I am, living in a building that's a breath away from disaster, surrounded by people who think I'm the problem for actually caring. The board remains blissfully ignorant, kicking the can down the road just like their predecessors. And I'm left wondering what fresh hell will be next. Maybe the roof will cave in, or the electrical system will finally short out, leaving us all in the dark. Whatever it is, you can bet they won't see it coming until it's too late. And when it happens, I'll be right here, ready to take the blame for trying to fix it. Some say that insurance will automatically cover it. Actually, no, not true. I have a single-family home and replaced my sewer line. Insurance only covers from the outside wall to where it hooks up under the street. Anything under my house came out of my pocket. So $50,000 later, new sewer and water lines and newly remodeled family room. They wouldn't even cover a hotel for a week because they said my house was still livable despite not having water or sewer. A month later, they dropped my coverage and I had to find new insurance. Moved out of our townhouse after the HOA hired contractor caused our basement to back up with sewage. They denied it was sewage or that they had anything to do with it. Told our realtor if she took us to view any place with an HOA, she was fired. She laughed and we told her we were serious. She never did. A week after the new owner signed, we were completely honest about the HOA, but she didn't believe us. They leveled a $70,000 special assessment to cover balconies that were collapsing and sewage repairs. They retracted it due to complaints from people who didn't want to pay. It was a 120-unit HOA. We saw over 30 units go on the market the next week.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.